now you should see us enlarged. Yeah, hi to this episode on a Wednesday, which is a bit of special.
Yes, we have this month a lot of
occupied Thursdays.
Yes,
we had a lot of public holidays here in Switzerland and / Germany. So we have this Wednesday, but it's okay for us at least. Hope for you too. And yeah, this episode is about dynamic planning or dynamic design, or I guess the word is dynamic planning, also English.
Yeah, I guess so.
And yeah, and this is an interesting technology which is not aware of all of you. This is something which is a bit special and not in the normal workflow of a lighting design process, and it's also a bit of old. That's why it's maybe not aware to you, and that's why we want to show what is dynamic planning and how to use it in desktop and what you can do with it.
Yes, yeah.
One special thing is that this dynamic planning is based on the ray tracing calculation core. In RELUX Desktop, we have two calculation cores. One calculation core is about radiance, we call it, not radiance, radiosity.
Yeah. It's based on diffuse surfaces. In the consequence, it will not be used to calculate any specularity, mirroring,
transmissions, reflections
in these things. But we have also as an alternative a radiance-based ray tracer, and this will be used for the dynamic planning.
And the second one is the ray tracer, and the ray tracer can do things like reflection, transmission, and so on. So glass is glass on a ray tracer, and the ray tracer is used in desktop with the main purpose to having nice visualizations. This is something where you can render a nice looking image with all this optical effects of material and different kind of surfaces. So this is not quite used often, I have to say. What we see is that the most of the users just make the calculations with this pocket calculator or with the calculation settings, which ends up in a radiosity calculation mostly. You need to know what you do and where to do it in order to get an ray tracing. But ray tracing is a technology which we have used in order to do this dynamic planning. So what is dynamic planning in short?
It just allows you to getting directly a feedback when you are adding a scene, modifying a scene. Then it will be gives you we can say a little bit in real time, not really real time, but in a very fast way. It gives you a feedback what happens if you modify a scene by moving luminaires or adding objects into the scene or changing luminaires or the direction of luminaires and such things.
Yeah, so some kind of direct calculation, but just with the direct part. So
actually, it will only use the direct part. It gives you some quality parameters like the average of illuminance average and uniformities, but related to the direct part, which is in interior in the most cases not useful, but it gives you an idea of what happens inside of the scene.
Yeah.
In exterior scenes, it is in the most cases enough just to calculate the direct part. So there it's a little bit more useful when you take a lot of when it's very important for you to have this quality criteria, so like the uniformity or something like that.
Yeah,
but it's still you can also use it in the interior, and also in the interior the visualization is a big point, a helpful point to use dynamic planning. And
so in indoors it's quite good to use if you have some spots or if you have really rich direct lighting scenes, which is especially if you're doing shop lighting, retail lightings, and you have spots, and the spots could be quite good visualized, and also you have an impression of the values. And the main benefit of dynamic planning is that you have instantly, I will not say real time, it's not really real time, but it's less than 1 second in most of the cases, where you have the results. We have a direct result without needed the iterative loop of calculating the whole scene. This is the benefit, and we want to show it, of course, today, how it looks, how it feels, and how to operate it. And I will start with a demo of RELUX Desktop with an indoor, with a room, and Klaus will follow and will show how this works and looks in an outdoor scene. So I need to share the screen, which I can do with this button here. And now you should see a beautiful RELUX Desktop with a room. And this room is, yeah, in reference an office or a conference space. Let's see in 3D. In 3D, it looks like this. Here we have the normal scenery, not calculated, but this doesn't have a big effect of this glass wall. This is something that it's hard to imagine as glass, because it looks like paper or gypsum or something, but it's not looking like glass, but it is glass. It's modeled as glass, but we cannot see it. This is one of the benefits of the ray tracing calculation core, that glass is visualized as glass. So in Radiosity, it looks like paper.
Of course, the ray tracing kernel can also be used for simulating such complex scene, like, for example, silings with a transparency, and or as we see it here in the moment where we have this glass, this glass walls. You will a little bit later see what this means.
Yeah. So then now let's switch on and have a look on dynamic planning. Dynamic planning is a button which is located here in the start ribbon page. So it should be initially visible with the start of RELUX, with a project in RELUX Desktop. Here closely to EasyLux, which already, I guess, everybody is knowing EasyLux, but we have here on the side dynamic planning. I'm sure not everybody of you has pressed this button yet, because okay, whatever it does, and let's see what happens if we click this button. Now we have a short sequence to be patient and wait, but this is fast. This is less than a second, and now we have here on the desktop, on the desk, we have here an false color rendering and false color visualization of the illuminance level of this desk. And dynamic means if we change something, for example, if we change here the height of the lumina to something else, we will need this 1 second of direct part calculation, and then we see another result, which is of course higher and less uniform. Also, we should see also here the values of it. We can see here now we have a bad uniformity, but in brighter maximum of the illumination of the surface. And of course, if we're doing it the vice versa, more up, then we get a better uniformity, no surprise, but less illumination levels. So this is the trick. It works also with all kinds of surfaces. Also, for example, for the ceiling, you just need to select the ceiling, and now we get the values and the visualization of false colors of the ceiling. With this, and also we can change the height here again, and in a couple of, or in less than a second, depending on your hardware, and also depending, of course, on the scene. If we have a lot of geometry in it, then it takes a bit of longer. If it's primitive, then it's fast. So this is.
But you will get immediately a feedback what happens to your results. So we have not to press the calculation button, open a calculation result, and then go back to the edit view where you can modify the scene. So you will just make a modification and you will get a feedback for the results.
Yeah, this is the benefit of dynamic planning, also for indoor, of course. And we have also here a new, let's say, optional ribbon part called dynamic planning. This is just available if you have activated dynamic planning. So you can imagine dynamic planning as some kind of mode or some kind of state of RELUX Desktop. If you're in the state, you have this option of direct calculation. And here with this dynamic planning ribbon part, you have the control over this feature. Here you can pause this feature. So if you want really to adjust or rearrange everything in the room, then you can hit the pause button, and then you are not be disturbed by taking this part of the second of calculation anytime anything again. And here are also some settings which we will check later. And here we have also an interesting another mode. So one of the features, as I said, is to have the control or the overview of a single or a complete evaluation area in false colors, but it's also possible to check the luminance on all the surfaces with this button here, and then you can see right instantly, depending on the hardware, also depending on the scene again. Oh, and I have zoomed how the room looks, also in a red traced way, quite fast. So, for example, glass is glass as promised. Now we can look through the glass. You have all kinds of optical effects which you have within red tracing engines or reflections, transmissions, all this fancy stuff. And now I want to ask you to please have an focus on the windows. The windows are at the moment are dark, and we have here another feature called specular reflections. Here with this button, I can activate the reflections, and you can see here that you now have a mirror effect of the windows, that we can see like a mirror what is inside the room with this button. And this button takes also a part of a second in addition in calculation time, but you will get the specular reflections. Here also in the glass you can see now part of reflections. Let's switch it off for a second, and you can see, okay, now it's just a normal red tracing without any specular effects. And if you switch it on, then you have this mirror effects on the surfaces, and it needs a bit of more of calculation time to have this. Also maybe another perspective, and this is useful for something like let's say a fast visualization effect, that you can have at least one image in a better visual shape, that you can demonstrate your projects, make screenshots of it, or at least you can find the best camera position in order to do a proper rendering with the red tracing calculation core. This is some kind of nice and fast pre-step with less options to adjust something. This is also something I want to show you. We have here a couple of settings, and the settings are quite simple. So there are some quality settings, low, average, and high. So this is depending how much time you spend for these effects, and this is a slight shift between quality and performance you can set. Also smooth edges is the same. Also the pipe timeout is also something, if you raise it up, then you get better results, but with more calculation time. Also this exposure thing here, and also the lumina subdivision, you can also switch here. If you make a higher subdivision, you end up with a better representation of the LDC on closed surfaces. You have a more part of the luminas on calculation, and not just one in the middle. This you can set, but the settings are quite easy to do, easy to understand, and also has not the biggest impact on red tracing as we have it. If you end up in a real red tracing situation, you can set a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So you will also see there is prepared the settings for indirect calculation. It is also there, but it is actually not. It cannot actually used.
Yeah, it's some kind of
still under construction.
Yeah, also the daylight part is also under construction, but the user interface is there. Then you have an impression how it could look in the future. Yeah, so indirect is not activated at the moment. Yeah, so we hope we can create this stuff fast, and also important, if you don't like this effect that everything you move the room, you got instantly an rendering image. This is something which could maybe annoying if you are in the middle of working with this room. You can switch it off here by pause or by quit. You can also quit, and now you are done, and this mode is gone away, and you can work as before with your scenery. And if you want to activate it again, you click here on dynamic planning. So really quite easy, is one button, and you see again the room in this fast ray tracing mode. I'm not sure if we can switch off here. We can also switch off here. Yeah, it's also easy, just the same button again, and it's off. Good. Okay, then let's go to the outer world. Let's see what we can do with dynamic planning in a street lighting situation.
So there is not
nice roundabout.
Yes, there is not so many points to say. It's very similar like we have it in the interior. The basic thing is that we have in such exterior scenes, in many cases we just take care to the direct part of the calculation. So here it is a little bit useful. We have here a small project from the exterior with some road areas, with a roundabout, some buildings, and here it goes the same way as we have it in the interior. We can start this dynamic planning, and we have also the possibility to work with the luminance window, luminance view, but especially in exterior, it's mostly used for working with pseudo colors. And then by selecting my the measuring surface, which I'm taking the interest, it's the same as in the interior when we have selected a table, or here in this case we have selected a roundabout, and then we can really. It is really helpful to use this tool for example, to detecting, like here, that we have here an area which is too dark, and which is too dark. We can see it here in the scaling of the false color. Also, we have here the possibility to take a look to the actual results, and then we can directly here in the window make place an additional luminaire again, and get immediately cleared that here now this area is now working correctly. Also here you can work with multiple measuring surfaces, and simply by clicking. Actually not it is possible that we have multi-selection. This is missing at the moment, but maybe a tool for the future. Also, it is for exterior lighting. We are looking forward to optimize this tool with add additional calculation possibilities, especially when you're working, for example, in sports, in the sports areas or something like that. It may also be necessary to have this dynamic calculation for vertical illuminances and for camera illuminances and such things. Actually, it is just working for the normal horizontal or according to the direction of the surface. In the case of the walls, it is a vertical, but it's illuminance on a vertical surface. And yes, that's everything I can say here for dynamic planning in exterior lighting. You can change here also the settings for your false colors. We have here directly this button, and here you can modify the settings for this false color if you need it. We have changed these false colors
2 years ago.
No, it's 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, the time is so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have also here the possibility to change this by yourself. But we will recommend to use this automatic false color. You can here, if you are working with an old project, you can here use this reset button to change it. But however, you have here the possibility to change this values for the false color, which is also then used for the print output, as well as here for the 2D for the dynamic planning.
Yep. One universal false color scale. which is nice if you always use this full color, universal scale, then you get slowly but surely the same colors represented with an illuminance levels. This means if you see green, then you are in the 300 to 500 lux area. If you see blue, then you are really bright in a range of thousands and so on. And if you see something yellow, then you are in the area of 100 to 200 and so on. So this is if you use always the same scale, this is also you can instantly see the levels directly on the surfaces. This is a great advantage to use this unified scale, which we present as a default. But of course, you are completely free to change the scale distances, the values, and also, of course, the colors to whatever you want. So this is also possible if you have your own way of false colors. Easy to change. Yeah, I guess also from my side, it's all maybe to keep in mind. It's also a nice tool for sports lighting. So if you have in simple sports arena, according, for example, EN 1293, you have also there horizontal values, but beware, this is not the right tool if you go for vertical illuminances or camera positioning or clear stuff. This is not enough. This is just the horizontal values, but for the most public and common sports, this is fully okay, and also a nice feature for all the outdoor stuff, because outdoor stuff just needs this direct part and not the indirect parts. So this is quite the same as we're doing anyway in the normal calculation situation. In indoor, as I said, good for sport for spotlighting to really make an hard spot somewhere. This is nice, a nice option to view what happens. But if you need indirect part, if you have indirect luminance, then this is not the right tool to use. But for anything else, this is a nice option you have. Maybe we hope that you find something new, that you have now a new option which you can use in your designs or in your procedure to find your best design. And now is the time to go into the questions and to check if
faster than in the other ones. Now let's take a look to if there are any questions actually. In a short moment, please.
Yeah, I see something. Okay. Please, can you record the presentation and send it to me?
You will find the presentation on our homepage. For there are the videos linked. I guess they are also on YouTube.
Yeah, you find it on YouTube. It's public in YouTube, and you can also find it with on our website relux.com /FunWithRelux, I guess, or you found it also. Yeah, there's also an section, and you can also find an own subsite for Fun with Relux, and there you have all the episodes with Fun with Relux, including this one, and it takes a couple of hours, and then it's online. Could it be used for stadium sports lighting with permanent re-aiming and changing photometrics just for direct lighting at the grid? Yes, exactly.
But we have the limits which we told before, that we have actually
no horizontal.
We have just only one result actually, but we will have. But in the future, when we are starting to work on this point, it will also be available for everything which is necessary, especially for this aiming on sport grounds and so on, because we know that it's very interesting.
Yeah.
That is the second question, and multiples for grids a must, of course. Yes, that's what we say.
It's just for one grid in a way at the moment. It's not possible to change the grid for dynamic.
Is it possible to show lighting effect for only one luminaire for illumination projects?
Some kind of highlight function that you switch on just one spot and not others. Not with one button. you can dim down the luminaires and just dim up the one luminaire you want to have, but this is in a way some manual work.
But I understand this feature a little bit so that you can choose a special mode so that you have only select the luminaire, and then you will only see the effect of this single luminaire on your scene without having the calculation of the other scene. So this may be helpful.
Like LDCs.
Sorry?
For LDCs, I guess we have this feature. If you select just one luminaire, this just one gets the LDC visual. I'm not sure.
Yes, we have. Yes, of course. This is yes. I know what you mean. Yes, we have the option for the luminaires to see from the selector the LDC just from the selection, and it's a little bit similar. Just for the dynamic planning, just calculate the selected luminaire actually. And so maybe if this is helpful, we will put this on our wish list.
Yeah, this is a nice idea. I noticed from the stage lighting, this is called highlights, that you just have the luminaire which are you currently working on illuminated. The rest is off, so that you can focus the focus in a way just with this one.
Okay, thanks for this input. Hi, is it able to show the lux reading on the dynamic view? What is the lux reading numbers?
It's this is we have just on the side in this result tab, you have the average values, the minimum, maximum, uniformities, but it's not possible to print in the 3D area the values of the grid. This is not possible at the moment. Maybe in future, also one interesting thing we could add. It's not so far away, but it's at the moment not inside.
Okay.
I have a question regarding the calculation surface. Which calculation surface is good to use, task area or normal measuring surface, to make a compact output result?
Okay, it's a little bit different, but here a short, fast answer is a task area is normally related to everything which is under 12.464, where we have a profile according to working places. And a standard measuring area is useful for everything else what you want, especially in exterior. If you use a standard measuring illuminance, then you can add illuminance classes according to the 13201 to it. If you use a task area, you can choose a profile from the 12464, especially part 2 for exterior working places for this. So you must on that point you must decide which is more useful. In the consequence for the calculation is more or less the same.
Yeah, if you have task areas, you should use task areas. This is important. If you do not know where the tasks are, keep the complete room into this task area, which is the normal or the reference plane. Yeah, so if you know the task areas, use the task area, do the zoning, and select the zones to different usage profiles. Okay, then we have any way to change default values of the red tracing page settings, for example, the resolution, so the images can make most of the full pages on the report.
Yes, but this is related if you make a ray tracing calculation. There you have a lot of possibilities. You can say that the size of the page. So this is, but in the dynamic planning, it is not at least it is not intended that you use this for the printout. It's more that you see it on the screen. You have the possibility like to make a print screen or some with right click, you can create something similar like a print screen. But if you want to have all these options, use the from the calculation manager, use ray tracing calculation, and there you will find all the possibilities for the settings of the
there are a lot of settings for the normal ray tracing. In the calculation options, you found also resolutions and something like this for the images of the ray tracing. There should be a lot of settings, also in terms of size and so on. Of course, you cannot get a page in the end, you get a picture in the end, in a way. And yeah, the picture is the result.
What is about pumping station, which include big motor variation? Yes, this can also be used. We have a library actually in it. Also, you can have the possibility to import 3D objects into your project from 3ds files, for example. We are actually working on other formats, but this is possible.
Is it possible to get the gloss luminance feature on exterior simulation? Yeah, of course. It's the same. If you have glass or if you have metal or something outdoor, you can also use the settings as we have seen in indoor. It's the same in outdoor and indoor. In spot application, but in general, in all applications, we are using aiming. Yeah. Could you introduce the coordinates of aiming points, split it in two data? First aiming point and IMAX 2 aiming point for luminance, because if you use asymmetric option, whatever, you see the IMAX aiming point only. There are, yeah, is it always a IMAX for the error we have, or could we adjust the error?
You can adjust the error.
Okay.
It is you can, by default it will use the error, the vector which is used for the aiming point tries to find it automatically by Emacs. If Emacs is not E0, it should find it automatically, but this may sometimes a little bit tricky, but for this we have the possibility to change this manually.
To C0, for example,
So,
or
yes,
the normal vector of the output area.
Maybe this is a misunderstood what you need actually. Maybe you please send us the request on the normal ways, and we can check what to do.
Also the question, what is the aiming point, if this could be adjusted?
The aiming point can be adjusted. Okay. We have, it's a little bit too late. We have modified this luminaire, this new window. We have a new window, luminaire list, where you can also now activate the aiming point, so that you can change the aiming point there. And
in coordinates,
in coordinates in a table. But we know know that we have a lot of possibilities to increase our functionality and to optimize this. So we would not say that is working perfectly at the moment.
I have problem on how to use the software. Is there any video explaining that? Yeah, we are here on episode 22, and just of Fun with Linux, 22 episodes, and we're not going really to the basics.
To the basics, yes. But you will find on our homepage relux.com, on the support part, you will find a lot of tutorial videos, also for beginners and really beginners to find.
So we can start with YouTube videos. There's also a self-study options, which cost a bit of money, and of course also you can book training courses. If you have not any used Relux desktop before, it might look a bit complicated to start directly with dynamic planning. To get emergency lighting calculations, do we have to use emergency planes, or can we use 0 meter plane with the emergency lighting lumen output? Depends. So we would recommend to use, of course, emergency planes, emergency areas to use this, and then you are on the right mode with the right luminance, with the right calculation model. Of course, in emergency light, you just also use the direct parts, no reflections, and so on. This is ensured if you use emergency areas. If you use normal calculation areas, and if you do the direct part for yourself, so if you do some kind of manual emergency light, this is also possible, but not really recommended. Please use the emergency planes. The CAD import only allows maximum of 30 megabytes, 30 meters, sorry, 30 meters negative on coordinates. Is there a reason for this? Can it be changed with a valuation lower than 30 meters? I was not aware of 30 meters.
I also think so. If this is so, it sounds for me a little bit like a bug. We have to check it. It should not.
Should be more than 30 meters negative. Should be a couple of 100 meters negative.
Should be also possible.
Yeah,
but maybe. Someone.
Good. Just comments.
No comment.
Also comments. The same. Can I do my dynamic simulation on Revit? No,
not actually
no.
At the moment.
It's not available in Revit. It's a different kind. In Revit, we have built in our radiosity calculation course. You can do radiosity calculations directly in Revit, but not this dynamic planning with this ray tracing course.
Maybe we can, but maybe we can. Maybe we can take it as an idea for to expand the RELUX cut for Revit functionality also with dynamic planning.
It's technically possible, but a lot of work.
Which RELUX software includes 3D equipment, motor events. If you take a look to our library, which we have updated some months ago, when you go to Insert 3D Object, from there you can download from ReluxNet. Also, we have furniture. We call it furniture library, but it includes also many exterior objects like planes and so on. I'm not sure if you find what you are searching for, but you can use, as we told, you can use from any 3D library from the web. You can use objects.
This is you can access this online 3D library through RELUX Desktop with inserts and 3D objects or furnitures, and then you end up in ReluxNet. There's a 3D option, a 3D object section with almost 1,000 3D objects for free, of course, to use in RELUX Desktop. Maybe the last one, because we are also running out of time. This one, okay. Luminar aiming angles will pass through the imported 3D models rather than land on them, making it very hard to read the aiming errors for complex sites. Is there a fix? I was not aware that the errors that's going through 3D objects.
Yeah, this a little bit.
Then you need to hit with this line the objects.
Yes, we know this is missing at the moment.
Okay,
so it never worked, so it's not a bug because we have this in. But meanwhile, it should be possible to find a solution for the problem. We will take care of this.
Good.
Okay. So thank you.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed it, and hope we see you next time. Next time is which?
That is the 22nd of June is the next episode, and this is about daylight planning, daylight design, what to do with daylight in desktop, what you can calculate, what you can use, where is the, what to use and why. And yeah, so see you hopefully in 1 month. Next episode will be again on Thursday, 10 o'clock in German and 2 o'clock in English, Central European time. Yeah, hope to see you. And yeah, you can also check our YouTube videos and on relux.com all our episodes, which are now 22. Okay.
Okay, looking forward to see you. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.